Hello, and welcome to Diary of a New Instructional Designer. We wanted to take you along with us on our journey as we start our new instructional designer roles. We will provide you updates throughout our first 90 days in the role. We hope our diary will give you a behind the scenes look at what to expect as you transition to your idol role and help reduce the feeling of imposter syndrome. My name is Veronica Reed, and prior to landing my idol role, I was a human resources generalist, and I worked in that role for various companies for almost 8 years.
My name is Kristi Oliva, and for 15 years, I have been a K-8 teacher and now moving into instructional design. All right, so I became interested in instructional design kind of by accident. I think that happens a lot, actually. But I was looking to get out of teaching, and I started looking at anything that I could apply for. And an instructional technologist role popped up in my area, and I applied and went through several rounds of the interview process. But I still, even going through the interview process, I didn't quite understand what the role was. But I knew that with the word instructional in it, that it probably had something to do with what I had been doing for 15 years as a teacher. So as I was going through the interview process, I started to look up what is an instructional technologist, and obviously instructional design popped up in that search. I was also in the beginning stages of starting my master's program. And once I did some research on what instructional design was, I instantly changed my major for my master's because I was like, no, this is what I want to do. I knew that there was something about this that was going to get me excited.
So I became interested in instructional design because I worked mostly as a human resources generalist. And so I was a little bit familiar with kind of talent development, but not so much the learning and development side. So as I looked to kind of transition more to the talent development side of human resources, I discovered instructional designer. And I was very active in the Association of Talent Development Dallas chapter. And so I got a chance to meet a few instructional designers. And I really knew that that was the position I wanted to move towards within my new career. And I joined the Idol Academy because I wanted more of a framework to help me understand the process and provide practical experiences to ensure that I knew kind of what the job entailed and I would be confident making that change. I didn't want to get another master's degree just because it was so much money. So I felt like this will really help me enhance the skills I already had, and that the Idle Courses Academy will provide me that practical experience that I was lacking.
And that's how I came across Idle Courses Academy, is I then started to find Facebook groups that were about instructional design, and somebody commented that I should check out the Idle Courses Academy. And Robin, of course, popped up in there with her little 2 cents and set up an immediate Zoom meeting with me that week. And I got on with her, and she sold me. She said, told me all the features and the lifetime membership and just everything that makes Idle great. And so I hopped on the bandwagon. Started in January of 2020.
I joined Idle Courses in their fourth cohort, which was June of 2020.
I have landed an idle role as instructional designer for CVS Aetna. Um, so this is a Medicare company. They deal with the medical field. So I guess I would consider myself an instructional designer in the healthcare field. But it also feels like corporate. So I think it's kind of a mix.
So my new idol role is a true instructional designer. So I will do pretty much everything from the analysis all the way to the evaluation piece, but I will mostly be focusing on e-learning specifically because it's more of the digital side. And so I'll be doing this for a mortgage company. So this will be a completely new industry for me that I've ever worked in.
So let me tell you more about the interview process. Um, this one was actually the shortest interview process out of all the interview, um, what would I say, all the interview processes, I guess, that I've been through. I had several interview processes that I was like in the midst of, and didn't get any of those jobs. And then CVS Aetna comes along and theirs was the shortest one. And I'd like to think that it was the shortest one because they just knew right away that I was the one for them. Um, I found out I landed the role on July 22nd, I think it was. And it was like right at 1 or 2 p.m. I remember it. And I kind of was expecting it. So this is why. After the interview process, I got an email. After my final interview, I got an email from their HR department and they asked me to fill out like another application. And I was like, why would they do that? And there was a part of me that was like, do they not know that I applied? And this is like another recruiter asking me to apply to it. But there was like, I just knew in my heart that I was going to get an offer. And sure enough, I think it was the next day that I got a call from my recruiter and he said, we're happy to extend an offer to you.
My interview process was really an interesting process. It wasn't your traditional process. It actually started with me connecting with someone on LinkedIn. So there was a company that was hired. This company were hiring for some other positions, and so I just always kind of do like a LinkedIn stalking in a way. So I just kind of look up all the learning and development people within a particular company, and I saw the senior vice president of learning and development from that company, and so I was like, oh, I'll just connect with her and see how that goes. And so I connected with her and then she reached out to me and it was like, hey, we have these positions open, let's talk. And so we had a conversation about an hour over the weekend. So it was crazy that I talked to the senior vice president of learning development on a weekend. So we had this conversation. She told me about the positions and then I talked to the actual hiring manager for the position. And I had to do a beyond video to showcase kind of some of my skill set. And the video was due on a Friday, but being kind of like the overachiever I am, I wanted to get it done early. So I submitted it on a Wednesday, and apparently they really liked the fact that I went ahead and submitted that video early, and so they offered me the job the next day. So it was a very different process than most people would. Like I didn't have to really go through a recruiter or anything for that piece of it. It was more of a LinkedIn kind of connection thing.
I am so excited going into my first day. I already know that the first day is going to be just a large corporation orientation. So because open enrollment is happening, I guess, pretty soon for insurance companies. So they are bringing in a lot of temp people. So I'm going to be in a building with like tons of temps that are also being onboarded. It is going to be an in-person orientation. This will be an in-person position once it begins, but they are keeping me remote until probably January. But I am so excited going in because I do get to meet my manager and I get to meet one of my team members that is another instructional designer, and there's two of us, that's it. So we're going to be like hopefully new BFFs. And so I'm so excited to meet all those people. I'm going to get my laptop. I'm going to get all my supplies. So I'm just like super excited. I'm getting my picture taken for my badge. It's just all becoming so official. And so I'm so excited to get that badge that says CVS instructional designer. I think that's going to be like my moment of reality right there.
So I'm most excited about the first day. It's probably not going to be a lot of new exciting things at first. It's going to be a lot of the onboarding and just kind of getting all the systems set up, but it is going to be exciting to just kind of get your computer and just kind of get your equipment, see what tools they're working with, and really be able to kind of see their design style and how the company works, how their team works, and just get to meet, everybody that I'll be working with. So, being a part of the Idol Academy was very helpful, especially in the Facebook group. I wasn't as vocal as probably some other people, and a lot of that was because I had started making the transition a little over a year ago. So, I had a lot of my assets and things created already, and I already had kind of a portfolio website, and I had done a couple of interviews for some instructional design roles before. So I had a lot of kind of the framework in the beginning part. So, like, the portfolio is usually the largest piece of what you need to have done. So I had a lot of that done already. I just needed to migrate it over to kind of fit some of the techniques and best practices that were presented in the academy. So for me, joining the academy was just to kind of help get over that hump because I did have a couple interviews, but I knew there was something missing. I think there were some things that I needed to add. So that's just kind of why I joined. So I am kind of like an introvert, extrovert. So I don't mind talking to people and getting to know people, but I'm an observer at first. So it takes me a little bit of time to warm up. Thankfully, one of the great things about the Idol Academy are the coaches. And so you can connect with them, kind of offline or in other capacities. And so for me, I connected really well with Tandy, who is a coach in the academy. We found out that we don't live that far from each other. We're in the same area. Unfortunately, we can't get together in person due to the virus, but we became really good friends. We talk on the phone. She's really been a good resource for me as I kind of interview for positions and, just helping me kind of move past the imposter syndrome and just making sure that I remain confident in all the processes. So that's one of the really good blessings of the Idol Academy is having a coach, especially if you're able to connect with the coach. Specifically, that connection is kind of something you won't get elsewhere.
So my experience in Idol Courses Academy has been, it feels like a long time, but it hasn't been that long. So I joined in January and it's now June. So I've been part of it for 6 months. But keep in mind, for the first 5 months of that, I was also getting my master's degree. So I really wasn't devoting the full attention to Idol that I wished I could have. But everything works out for a reason. So, but I do think that once I did start getting into Idle more, I was very active in the Facebook group and giving feedback to people, posting things for feedback. I was very transparent, I guess is the word. Like a lot of people remember me being really transparent about my Amazon interview journey and, how hard that was to get a rejection after putting in so much time with that interview process. Um, so I think that I enjoyed that part of it because I am an extrovert. And so I think that that comes out in how active I was externally in the group. But I also talked to a lot of people that were part of the group, but I talked to them individually. So I mentioned Sarah Velasco earlier. She and I, talk in Messenger pretty much every day. Brooklyn Dameron works at the company still that I used to work for, and she joined the academy because I told her about it. And so we talk all the time. Tabitha has been an amazing resource for me and takes a lot of time. And I think she does this for a lot of people where if you message her, she works really hard to help people get to that idol status. Whitney Salas was really amazing in responding to me. Mia Vernado, Whitney Estes, all these people that maybe you wouldn't know I was speaking to them, but behind the scenes, they've been really valuable to me. And so I think one of my goals moving forward with idol courses is to try to be that for other people. I want to try to help people get their idol goal as well. And so I will spend time with people if they need it, or I mean, feel free to direct message me. And if you have any questions or need any help with anything, because I think that's part of what this group is about, is staying involved and paying it forward once you've gotten there, because we have become like this idol family that we all want to build each other up and help each other succeed. So I'm so thankful for that. Thank you, Robin, for setting that precedent here and making us lifetime members so that we can do that.